What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall market. I'll talk about some very key levels to watch for some big news that came out involving some hedge funds buying more Tesla shares. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. The offer ends very soon at the end of March. Anyways, so as far as Tesla's going, we have this resistance to watch for at this 362 area. We have not been able to break past this yet. We came very close so far in the morning, but we also have support at our 20 EMA at this 353.7 area. Not to mention our support also at this like 348 zone, which is where we had these previous lows from Friday. So overall, we're just stuck in a range going back and forth between these key levels. We also have a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder that's forming, especially as we're trying to fight this resistance. And we're just range bound, so just keep that in mind. So we'll see what Tesla does. I'll talk more about this in just a minute, but I do want to mention some good news that has come out. We have a giant hedge fund known as Bridgewater that have come out, and they've been continuing to buy up Tesla shares. In their latest 13F filing reports, they have disclosed that they bought about $62 million worth of Tesla shares. That's a 0.28% stake in the fourth quarter, and they continue to buy it, especially, post the election rally that happened. So there's a lot of stuff that was going on. They have made it very clear they're continuing to buy Tesla, and they're very bullish for the long term. The hedge fund was founded by Ray Dalio, and they're very legendary. So it's great news to hear that lots of these investors have lots of conviction. And if Tesla does get future dips, I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to disclose that they're buying more and more of these shares. They also believe that Tesla has a lot of upside potential, at least for many years to come, and they are continuing to maintain their hold position. So, that being said, they have very similar views from what this is saying as different analysts, such as like Dan Ives, who have seen so much potential in the growth that's coming because of robotics and AI, and they have a very similar view. So that being said, they also managed to say that Elon Musk is a hard worker who is very good at balancing lots of different tasks. Yes, he is managing a lot of different departments when it comes to Doge, lots of different companies, but you have to remember that despite that, he still gets the job done, and Tesla's still in great hands. And we're very excited for what the future holds. This is like more of a long-term opportunity, as there's still a lot of buyers who are present. Also, I just want to mention that in a couple of minutes, we have the 3 and 6 month bill auctions coming out. Then we have Barr from the Fed giving a speech. That's it for the rest of the day. There's nothing else that's too crazy. So, what's happening to the markets? Let's talk about this. I just want to mention that as far as the market is going, there's a lot of buyers who are trying to defend us after we got a small little dip, but overall, the market is still technically range bound. The bulls still have a bigger edge as we're technically making higher lows. So, for example, if you look at Tesla's trend, look at the last couple of days. Tesla was down at 320, and since then it's been uptrending. We also held support at 348, and we're trying to hold above 353 right now. But Tesla's not necessarily like breaking out in either direction. It's very much just range bound. So for now, I just see a lot of sideways price action between 353 and 362 going back and forth. For us to really turn bullish, you want to see it break 362. If that breaks, we could push a lot more. And if we lose 348, we will turn back down. Otherwise, we're just range bound, and Tesla's just waiting to see which way it's about to go. So we'll see if we end up getting a very big break below the support at 348. If we lose, if we lose this, we could be dipping to much lower levels, such as like the mid 330s all over again. But if we end up breaking past 362 later on, there is like a nice setup here with the inverse head and shoulders that's forming, right? The left shoulder, the head down here, and then we have this like right shoulder that could suggest an attempt to get back to the 370s. So we'll see how it goes. For now, Tesla has more upside potential as long as support holds, so we'll give this the time it needs. Now, for other factors out there, if you look at SPY, this pumped very nicely to 612, but we weren't able to hold above that. So I mentioned if 611 failed us, we'd be looking for this gap fill, and that's what happened so far. We're going to be looking at the 608 area if we can't hold above 610. So it's just kind of shuffling a bit. But like I said in my previous videos, this is just a temporary move down. I still think there's going to be a lot more upside potential coming. Even if we do dip back down to like 608 or so, we could dip a little bit lower before we see a big rebound, a nice recovery move. So this is just a temporary dip. Even if we do dip a bit more, we could easily continue to rally back up to 615 as we still have this breakout. And I mentioned in my video yesterday that seeing some kind of pullback on SPY would be completely normal. So this is very normal, right? We like to form these little pullbacks before we go higher. So a little pullback before it goes higher is still very possible. So for now, watch that 610 area. If it doesn't hold, I'm looking for 608, then 607.3. I'll be watching these levels very closely just to see how it goes. On the QQQ, we were not able to hold above 542, so we are starting to dip just a bit. Not looking too bad though. As long as we don't end up losing 535, we're going to be okay. It's possible we do dip closer to 535 though, just to be very, very clear. But then we'll see if we bounce off of that. Might just be a little bit of a dip that's coming before some buyers defend. So if we do touch 535, we'll be looking to see if we get a bounce after that. On the Russell 2000, we're trying to break here. As long as we're above 226.5, we could be pushing higher for 228 plus. This also has an inverse head and shoulder setup. So as long as you don't lose the 226s, I think that this may consolidate and eventually try to push back up to about 228 later on. For ES, we're looking a little bit more bullish, but it slowed down just a bit. It pumped very nicely close to all-time highs and came back down. 6131 is the main support alongside 6100 flats. As long as we're above that, it's possible we dip and bounce, but overall it still is technically on an uptrend and we could continue to push higher. NQ is looking bullish. As long as we don't lose 22,149, we could continue to bounce and push for 22,300 or above. If we lose 21,976, though, we could dip lower. Otherwise, we're still technically on an uptrend. So even if we do dip a bit more, even if we dip to about 22,150, we could try to bounce off of that. So we're still doing a good job so far. As long as that does not lose 22,000, we're going to be okay. Bitcoin could be dipping closer to about 95,000, so we'll see how that goes. So just keep that in mind. For Nvda, I just want to mention that there's this gap over here that's filled. We did a good job at filling the gap, but the problem is that now it's selling off a bit. Just a little bit. We have support to watch for at 140. If it does not hold, we look for 138, but it should bounce off one of those supports anyways to continue this uptrend. So we're doing a great job so far, and I think that Nvidia remains very, very elevated. It's greatly outperforming many of its counterparts, and there's a good chance it tries to continue this push as time goes on. So look for a little retest of support, by the way, at 140. If it doesn't hold, we could see 138, and we'll see if we bounce off those, by the way. Apple, we did expect some kind of dip. We did see that so far. It did actually come down to 242 as predicted. As long as we don't lose that, we could continue to consolidate and eventually get bought back up for about 247. So there could be a dip before it tries to bounce, so just please keep that in mind. For coin, we're looking a bit more bearish. We have this wick that formed here. We're going to be looking for a move back down towards 265, and we'll see if we bounce off that. Amazon's on a bit of a downtrend. We're looking for the support at 225. It doesn't hold. We're looking for essentially 220. For Meta, we're looking to see if we could hold. So this is the first time Meta is actually starting to show signs that it's below its 20 EMA. It already ran so hard, so it's not really a surprise. We have 725 as the main resistance and 708 as our main support. We're stuck between those levels. If this big red bar remains, we could push and start dipping lower if that doesn't hold, so just keep that in mind. For Microsoft, we're on a bit of a downtrend. We're going to be watching to see what happens right here at this 406 area just to see if we bounce. It might dip a bit more from here. Google may also dip a bit lower towards 183. The inverse head and shoulders is not looking that great right now. We need to hold 183, otherwise this may reject, so it's not looking the best. With lots of these big tech stocks rejecting a bit and the VIX is trying to push a little bit higher, I'm watching to see if the VIX gets back above 16 and then 16.5 or not, so please keep that in mind. As far as Tesla and the others go, Tesla's very flat right now, very choppy, not really doing much. There is some good news that's coming out, but for now, we're just going to have to be very patient with this and see which way this ends up breaking. So for now, we're just range bound. We'll give this some time to develop. We'll see which way it breaks. So watch my levels just to be safe. Until I see you guys again, I thank you for listening. So have a good one and peace out.